What's up, you guys? What's good? November's roundtable, the first one for the month. We got a second one, especially coming up for Survivor Series. We've got 5 handsome dudes here tonight. We got Jeremy Lambert kicking it right now. We've got Joel Pearl from Tim and Joel in the ring. Also, PW Unlimited. Jeremy is the god of points and the points of gods from Fightful. Jeff Hawkins, the man himself, the special guest for the roundtable. And my darling, you got
get enough of your love, babe.
You've got the Barry White of Fightful, Wild Boy himself. So first things first, we're going to talk about off the bat on this roundtable, Kylie Rae. Obviously, there's been some backlash about that. I've seen people talk about it here and there. What's your guys' perspective on Kylie Rae retiring, possibly retiring? You guys can just, it doesn't matter who goes. It's just,
you got to throw it to somebody, throwback. Otherwise, we're just all sitting here like, who's supposed to talk now?
Yeah, I know.
Look, I just want the best for Kylie Rae. I think it sucks. It's an unfortunate situation. Don't know what's going on with her, but whatever makes her happiest, whatever whatever she can do for her happiness, that's what matters in this situation. I hope people on Twitter and just all social media are kind to her. This is a bigger thing than wrestling. So just be kind to Kylie, and whatever is best for her is what I'm rooting for.
Okay, Joel, your turn.
I mean, I can only echo the sentiments that Jeremy has to say. It sucks being a fan of Kylie Rae, not being able to see her perform, but at the same time, you can't fault someone who is going through what they're going through and wanting to take that time off. And for anyone who wants to then go to the internet and start pitching, theories or bring up old news, that doesn't contribute to any good conversation. It's useless. The woman's going to go and hopefully find peace and find what she needs to do to be better and get better. And if that brings her back to wrestling, amazing. If it doesn't, then honestly, there's more in the world, and I hope she finds it.
So what are your thoughts, Jeff?
I echo most everybody else here. I have a unique perspective, and I'm probably going to get into some of Joel's anger points here, because I do like thinking about things like this. Not necessarily rumor mongering or anything like this, but I did stand-up comedy from 1991 to roughly about 2004 or so. And I just remember there were a couple people who had worked the road, and and they were about to do these were separate times, but they were about to do like a network showcase for television executives and stuff. And they had done the work, and the pressure got to them pretty much. And they cracked before this showcase, and they had been doing comedy for years. These were professional, one of whom's a name you'd know if I said it right now. And it's one of those things where I wonder now, having it happen in AEW and TNA before the biggest time of their life, biggest moment of their life, if it was one of those things where internally, and I've had this too in terms of the doubt, and you're simultaneously scared of success, but at the same time, if you succeed, then you have to carry this company or this division. Oh, what if I fail doing that? I wonder if it's just those internal things that can sometimes trap a person. And I hope she gets the help she needs. I hope she doesn't really retire necessarily, but if it's just doing indie shows for the rest of her life and she's happy doing that, great. If she's happy not being a professional wrestler, great. But I'm just, the timing of the two things, everybody always asks why, and I can play amateur shrink, but I can also see it from a performer's perspective, just having that pressure on you. And if you're already insecure, it just kind of becoming an endless Tesla cycle of doubt in you.
What's your thoughts, Wild Boy?
Personal health, mental health is way more important than championships, and that pressure probably got to her, I'm a fan of hers. I was ready to cheer for her, and I'm still cheering for her. I'm still rooting for her. I want the best for her. I pray that she gets better, whatever's going on with her. She's important to wrestling fans and the industry. She's a sweetheart. you can't help but root for the girl. So I just want what's best for her and praying for her.
For me, more so, it's do what you love and do what you need to. And she's done both. So if she decides to stop performing, stops wrestling, or do whatever venture she wants, she has the right to. So let's say 5 years from now, she comes back, she's still in ring shape and stuff like that in between. I mean, if it comes down to push and pull, whether it's something in her personal life, whatever, we don't know. Mm-hmm. If it's bettering her life in a situation where it makes her better in certain aspects, so be it. But as fans, as people who watch the industry, watch it at other angles, we have no right to judge a person's life in general. It's like me saying, okay, DK, you and me have beef because of the fact that you're a Tigers fan and I'm a Red Sox fan. I have the right to be upset because of that. We don't.
Right.
Like, it's like,
fight, though.
Well, he beat my ass. Or it would be like me saying to Joel that the Bruins are the best team in the, every Canadian hockey team sucks.
That's true, though. You're not lying.
Listen, first of all, wow, boy, DK, that Ducks hoodie, love it.
That hoodie rules.
Thank you.
If you Jones on this, man, this is a custom Bruins jersey, dude.
This is custom too. My mom, she kept asking me before she passed away. She's like, "What do you want for Christmas?" And I'm like, "Mom, I have everything." She's like, "You want something?" And I'm like, "Okay, I want a custom Ducks jersey with my name on it and my birth year." But she passed away before she could get it for me, so I got it custom made in her honor.
So DK, when he got that, I told him about this. That tops that.
This man has a framed jersey
with 2 pictures of my mom and me and my sister in it from when I was married. Crystal made that last Christmas for me. So, but now it's going to be hung up in honor as a memorial and stuff. But I'm sorry, DK, I had to do that.
Oh, it's fine. We talked about it, bro. It's
But that's what I was trying to get the point at is that you can't speculate on what's going on. It's like, Jeremy arguing with Joel about which Mario game is the best Mario game of all time. One of you guys has a point, but the thing is, you can't judge on the other person's point.
I'm gonna fight Joel though.
It's Super Mario 3.
Thank you.
Have we argued about which Mario game is best? Is this news to me? I don't think we've had that argument.
No, but I'm
had
just
the
using
other
an
Joel
example.
tell me
Yeah.
that I mispronounced Mario.
Well, I mean, you guys did do Mario Kart on a live stream, so
that was me.
That was Tim and I.
Yeah.
No, I was saying
I don't get invited to those streams.
We have to get back on track with those streams.
We do. That's on me. We'll figure something out.
Oh no, it's on Tim and I too on our side. We have to get on our side of it too.
Dude, I should ask Steven Jensen to pop in and be like, talk about Fall Guys. You got all 3 of you guys would be talking about video games for hours. That would be awesome. So what did you guys think about Halloween Havoc, Jeremy?
NXT's banned. I have no idea what happened on Halloween Havoc. I don't watch that program.
Okay, Mr. PW Unlimited.
Wait, I don't know what is that. Is that a bit they do? They ban NXT?
We don't ban anything.
Oh, okay.
We just talk about everything.
Yeah.
We have to ban stuff.
Sometimes a lot better than I can, but I try.
I actually liked Halloween Havoc from what I saw. I did watch it. It was a good show, but NXT still banned outside of Pat McAfee segments.
That was good.
The GOAT Pat McAfee will always have a place on the distraction.
He's
You
really
notice
good.
that on the Jumbotron too is that it says the brand, basically the brand, almost like
For the brand.
for the brand. It's like their own fashion name. That's gonna be sick. And Pete Dunne in this is gonna be killer.
Yes.
And he's like the focal point in this.
That was a big surprise.
So DK, do you think this is gonna be he's gonna make a bigger difference in War Games when War Games comes around?
Of course.
Dunne himself.
Yeah,
So-
he's going to get his payback on who was it? Roddy for turning on him. Was it 2 years ago?
Yep.
It was perfect for Pete Dunne to have this position. It's gonna be good.
What about you, Jeff?
Oh,
What do you think about?
I'm hyped for Pat McAfee jumping off a cage, doing something crazy that he doesn't realize he's doing, and going, "That was stupid," the next day on his radio show. I'm all about that. I got something in that segment. By the way, overall Halloween Havoc, my main talking point was that the women over-delivered on that card.
I'm glad Candice LeRae is okay, because that final bump looked like
that was deadly.
Yeah.
And then there was
talking
the
about that
Haas match with Gonzalez and
Yeah.
Ripley, which was better than it. But there was a small little thing in that Pete Dunne turn segment that I absolutely adored, and that was right after the turn. Very old school thing that you never see in WWE anymore. Guys putting boots to a guy. They were trying to stomp him out, actually beat on him, as opposed to doing wrestling moves on him.
Mm-hmm.
And a part of me just wept for nostalgia of watching like the Horsemen do that, or those old NWA type of turns where guys would just beat the crap out of a guy. That's what I want. I want more brutality in wrestling. I'm all for it.
You want the old physicality, just like it was in the Attitude Era. Basically, you want to make sure like it felt like you're watching it and it's actually happening, not like, okay, here's a move, then that, all that kind of bullshit.
A little, yeah. I mean, I think the Attitude Era had its faults too. I mean,
yeah.
You've got to look at the guys too who were beating down Kyle O'Reilly. They are the ones who are going to be the ones who put boots to your face after you mess up, like Pete Dunne. And ones and twos, they're going to be the ones who beat you down. No fancy moves.
Right.
I think the only thing missing from that segment overall was I think McAfee had to come out in a suit, dressed to the nines.
No,
that would have
ruins
been
the
making
brand,
it mint.
No, that ruins the brand. He's got to stay on brand as Pat McAfee in his sweats and everything.
and the brand for McAfee is still, if he's going to wear anything, he's going to wear shorts with
Yeah,
Jordan.
exactly.
Yeah.
That whole promo was about money in wrestling, and that's something else you don't hear about in WWE either. It's like you don't hear about bounties and championships.
How dare you?
You did.
Corbin
You literally Corbin's bounty. Yeah.
That was terrible.
Terrible.
Literally, that was horrible. There was a many of Friday nights in the chats over on Fightful. Literally, you hear everybody be like, "Oh, come on!"
Just awful stuff.
Baron Corbin, the best heel in the business. Yep, sure.
Joel DMs me that every single day, just unsolicited. Just messages me and be like, "Baron Corbin, best heel in the business." I was like, "Dude, it's 5 a.m. What are you doing, Joel?"
Trolling you
every morning. It's dear Jeremy, best heel in the business, Baron Corbin, Elias's record sucks, kisses, Joel.
Oh, this is like when I troll like Voices of Wrestling guys on how great Toru Yano is. Which is my favorite thing.
I'm lucky that hasn't happened, but I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't start. So I mean, it's bound to happen eventually, right? For me, McAfee being in NXT is actually the right, like the chef's kiss on this, because he's doing a lot of the vocal stuff. He's the mouthpiece, he has the muscle with Oni, Birch, and Dunn. But how are you going to put them in the same order as Undisputed Era when all of them can talk, all of them can go? So it's going to be interesting at War Games how they put it. The other thing is that I wanted to see what you guys thought was, what do you think about Gargano being a 2-time North American champion?
I mean, his first reign was 7 days.
What? That's why I don't remember it then.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah,
he won it. I think it was TakeOver Phoenix, and then dropped it to I think Dream by the next Wednesday. It was something like that. It was some ridiculousness like that.
I have a memory of Ciampa and him having the belt standing on a stage. That's the one thing that pops in my head at the same time. At that time, then Ciampa had the NXT title. But do you think it's like a knee-jerk reaction to having, Priest having this run? And to me, Priest being the North American champion is probably the best thing they could have right now.
Yeah.
But pulling that title off of him to give it to Johnny, what purpose does it serve down the line? I mean, you've got, big boy Bronson Reed there in the background, and what's the point of having him face Gargano, wouldn't you want him to face Priest? Because how both of them for the ladder match, they both wanted to go one-on-one, and they both can go if you let them. And why not just? What's the point of having Gargano against Reed?
They love their multi-man matches with the North American title, though. They'll do a ladder match or something. That's what they do in NXT. They'll put 8 guys in that thing, and then that's how they'll solve all of this. I think Gargano, and definitely Candice now, because she's lost the women's title shot like 3 times. They need to be on the main roster. I don't know if they'll succeed on the main roster. There's not much they can do in NXT left, and I actually like their dynamic. I hated it at first, but they've really grown into those characters. And I definitely think Candice should be on the main roster. Johnny, he's always going to be that guy you can count on for great matches and has the name cachet in NXT. Candice should be on the main roster because the main roster women's division mainly sucks, and NXT women's division is already outstanding with or without her.
Where would you put her? On Raw or SmackDown?
Raw, I guess. I mean,
SmackDown needs some help too.
SmackDown, they got Sasha Bailey. They're grooming Bianca. It's kind of weak after that, but like they could do something with the Riot Squad. They just won't do anything with the Riot Squad. Raw is like Asuka, and then it's like tag team stuff, and like Asuka wasn't even on the show this past week, so I'd probably still put her on Raw. At least Charlotte Flair is going to come back, and she's going to be on Raw, but you don't know when she's coming back. So
they killed that women's division with that 4-way tag right after the draft. It's like everybody's a geek.
I mean, they killed the women's division long before that, but that didn't help matters at all.
I didn't understand the need to take the title off of Damian Priest, to be honest with you, because I don't think they really did much with that other than those first couple of vignettes where he's flashing the cash, he's going into the jacuzzi with the women, all those other things. I take a more straight ahead approach. I think they just kind of rewarded Johnny Gargano for being entertaining as a heel and just said, okay, we're going to give him the title for a while because he's so funny in these vignettes, and we can work in Indy Hartwell and probably Austin Theory, who was under the mask, I think.
I have a feeling what we're going to be looking at in terms of Damian Priest is not a call-up, but a move ahead and get him into some sort of NXT title gatekeeper. Like, that's the next feud. Who it's going to be, I don't know off the top of my head. But then to get him up to Finn, there's no reason to not go there, just to have those two names go at it. On the Gargano side of things, him and Bronson Reed are going to be hilarious. Him and Cameron Grimes is also going to be a great match and a hilarious matchup as well. Just
Where's
think of
Warren when you need Grimes time?
That's the hat.
After that, speaking of segue on Grimes, just sorry to cut you off. It's just that match with Loomis. What was the point?
Oh, it's hilarious.
I like it.
I thought it
zombies.
They never gave Grimes any credibility. They never let Grimes be he should have stomped a couple of zombies before he got choked out or something.
Yeah.
That's all they needed to do. But instead,
that whole match basically only made Loomis a lot more stronger than he already is. And it just, to me, it diminished Grimes. Like, I thought Grimes was really good before all this. And now, and Loomis is just out of this world. But I thought that it made Grimes less of who he is as a performer rather than just anything. It's like the match was made for Loomis. It wasn't made for Grimes.
See, I disagree. I think Grimes can do no wrong having lost that match. He was hilarious. He left an imprint and he is memorable. People aren't going to remember that he lost. They're going to remember that he was absolutely hysterical. And some of the jokes that he made, like starting the match, going up to a referee in the corner and saying, is it pinfalls? Is it submission? What are we doing here? And like, just the memorable moments that came from that completely outweigh the pinfall, in my opinion.
What do you think, DK?
I want to go back and talk about Priest a little bit. I think it was too soon to take the title off of him. I was really getting into that run. He was entertaining. I like his entrance. I love his look.
That intro was sick.
Yeah, it's badass. Like, you can't give this guy this big, nice entrance and then loses the title. I get that. I guess that was Austin Theory that knocked him out. If we're going to lead to like Johnny and Candice being mentors to Indy and Austin, that could be a push to get them to the main roster. If they're grooming these two to be like them, to be champions soon. But I think Candice, on the other hand, that was her best chance at winning the title. Was against EO last week, but I don't see her winning the title now. So I guess her next move is to the main roster.
I mean, it would make more sense to have both of them up on the main roster. But the Grimes match to me was just it was like a filler match. It was made for Loomis. It didn't showcase Grimes to his max.
Yeah,
so I mean,
zombies is all you are, Throwback.
Dude, Jeremy, listen. I like House of 1,000 Corpses and I like Devil's Rejects. Okay.
Do you like Rob Zombie?
Rob Zombie's from Haverhill, Massachusetts, by the way. Yes.
All right. Well, you hate WWE Zombie. Do you like the ECW Zombie?
Who didn't?
Now I have, thank you. Now I have freaking, speaking of music, we'll probably talk about this later, but now I have the Cranberry Zombie stuck in my head. Thank you very much. So the main event was really, really good. The spot, like everybody knows about, is the ladder being pushed and Candice falling in. But what did you guys think of that match overall?
A great match, and I'm glad Candice is okay because it looked like hell on that. But I talked about Candice. I think she should go to the main roster. But the match overall was great. The masked person, who I don't know who it is. You guys are saying Austin Theory, and I guess it's supposed to be Indy Hartwell, but stuff happened there.
Yeah, it's Indy.
Yeah. And then Shotzi getting involved. Like the Io Shirai always delivers. Candice always delivers. The NXT women's division is just an embarrassment of riches. And they should just do the whole show as the women's division. Just no one cares. And Pat McAfee. Women's division, Pat McAfee. I don't care about anything else on the show. It's all bad.
Now that I have you on the show, do you think what my opinion is that Impact is the A1 women's division on all wrestling, and then NXT just by itself, not WWE as a brand all to itself, is the nipping right behind its heels?
Nah, I think NXT is better. Like, I like Impact's women's division. Love Deanna. Losing Kylie, like, it's a blow no matter how you look at it. Like, it's certainly a blow. I think NXT's women's division is better.
You think Impact's going to try and make a play for Allison Kay?
They should.
I agree.
And they should. Like, a big spot just opened up because Kylie was, she was going to wrestle for the Knockouts title at the last show. So they had her right there at that main event position. Now that spot is opened up, goes to somebody. Allison Kay would be great there.
That'd be a perfect fit for her.
That's all has to be said right now about the Cranberries. Thank you very much. For me, I think Thunder Rosa would be a good spot in Impact because that's a big name that could draw a lot of people. And right now, Impact with that blow, because Kylie on her own, just by her name itself, everybody knows who she is. They would gravitate to Impact for that. So they need something like that big name. Now, do you think it's a possibility she could land there just because of how great that division is? Like, it's more challenging than AEW for her? Any of you guys want to take that?
It depends on what her contract is, quite frankly, because I still think there's issues with her going to either AEW or WWE right now as well.
Her contract, she said it, like, it runs through the end of next year. So any, like, Thunder Rosa stuff is just...
Hey, popcorn just popped.
That's one.
So what happens, Jeff, is that sometimes DK's feed drops out, so we call him popcorn because literally it just pops out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but wouldn't it make sense when her contract would be available that Impact would? Because there is one huge name that nobody talks about that's still out there, and that's Tessa. And
she's not going back to Impact.
Yeah. Thunder Rosa going to Impact, it makes sense like now, but like we don't know where things are going to be at the end of 2021.
And it's going to be a bidding war too, because look, AEW, for all its praise, has a giant hole in the women's division in terms of the depth of talent.
By the way, I need a ticker for every time you pop in and out, my friend.
That's number one.
Yes. Got nothing but love for you, man.
Love you too, bro.
So right now, with the way WWE is that NXT for me is the number one brand out of the three. If you had to rate each individual brand going by one of you guys, rate all three of them, which way would you do it?
Go ahead, Jeff.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I mean, are we counting main roster WWE as well, or are we not going to go there either?
It's NXT, Raw, and SmackDown. The reason being it's just them three is because the old standard used to be SmackDown was the B show, Raw was the A show. Now you have NXT. So which one would you rank all three?
I go with NXT top to bottom because they tend to use people better. I go with SmackDown because they have two people at the top who are really good, and then Raw last because they have one person who's really good at the top.
What about you, Jeremy?
I would go SmackDown first because that's the show I have to pay attention to the most. I would go NXT second because it's good for what I see of it, and I would go Raw not on the board at all because it's a terrible show.
Especially when there's a 30-minute rant on this channel of me flipping out with Rob Wilkins on it. Yeah. We don't have to talk about Raw anyways. SmackDown, it was really good. What do you think? Jeremy already has given his opinion on the Fightful Friday night, but what are everybody else's opinion about the Roman?
Wow, I'm just getting buried over here. Just tossed to the side. Like, you've already
Listen,
given
man,
an opinion.
go put on your makeup or something. Your Sting makeup.
Was that
Sorry, I
true?
had to clarify.
That was awesome.
All right.
The
stars, Sting, Lambert.
So what do you guys think about the whole now faction starting to slowly develop with Roman and Jay? Where do you see that going? And I'll let Jeremy, you can also tell me because I haven't heard that opinion on that.
It's fine. Y'all go ahead.
Give me Jimmy, give me Tamina.
Tamina?
Oh,
Hell
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Hell yeah, give me Tamina.
Dude, that's there we go, Joel. All right, Joel.
May as well make her do something. She's already gonna eat the pin twice for that Survivor Series women's team. I've already, yeah. No, she's not because sorry, I didn't. So I have a feeling that they're going to put together the SmackDown Women's Survivor Series team in an NXT fashion, where they'll do 2 triple threat matches, and then whoever didn't get pinned, they'll have those 2 face off, and the winner of that match will be the other or the other person, and then the Riot Squad will get a bye because the women's tag team champions are on the Raw team. So it'll be Riot Squad, Carmella, Natty, and Bianca Belair.
That's pretty strong for the SmackDown side. And the way the Raw is, you've got, Mandy, Dana, which them two are on fire right now. I'll give that for Raw. And then you have Shayna and Nia, the Annihilator. Who do you?
The goat. Wait. We got the goat. Lana is still on the team as far as
Thank
I know.
you. She
After being through a table for 6 weeks in a row. That's going to be a record right there.
Never know, kill you.
Gets back up. Yeah, she gets back up every single time. We're not going to disrespect the goat Lana on this show.
Right.
You've got the goat and the boat right into different teams. This is going to be interesting.
Oh, they will absolutely face off, and it will be fire. The crowd will erupt.
The Thunderdome crowd is going to be crazy. We're going to get this.
I hope everybody on the SmackDown team and the Raw team puts her through a table. That's what I want.
What if this all ends with the entire team, both teams putting Nia Jax through a table?
No,
That
Lana
would be interesting.
Lana's the one who facilitates the putting of Nia through a table.
All right.
What do you think, DK?
Are we talking about just the women's, or are we talking about SmackDown in general?
Well, you can rate your 3, and then we could just talk about the women's right now.
NXT is number 1. SmackDown would be 2, just because Sasha and Bayley are holding it down. Raw could be number 1 because they're 3 hours and they could fill in more women in each show, but they don't. So Raw would be last for me.
Yeah. So what do you think about the women's Survivor Series teams slowly developing as they are? Who do you see? Each one of you guys could tell who do you think is going to win that whole 5-on-5? Because there's theories out there that Lana's going to be the last one standing.
Subscribe to that theory.
That's what it should be. This shouldn't be a theory. This is the booking plans right here. Lana's the last one standing.
I should bow down to the god of point who does fantasy booking on a regular basis.
They steal all our ideas, so they've probably stolen this one.
Lana gets put through a table early. The rest of the Raw team gets eliminated. Lana has to be the hero, but Bianca Belair is the only one left, and Bianca Belair pins Lana.
Oh, that was going so well, Hawkins. It's going so well.
Massive heat on Nia when Bianca gets pinned by Nia Jax. Massive heat.
Well, I mean, for me, I think NXT should be in this. Obviously, they're not. But, the match that I think that'll probably break down is, you still have Asuka and, Sasha, if that stays as of a Friday. Someone has the Sasha thing in his pants going on down there, the Barry White down there. So what do you think is going to win? I see your tweets about Sasha.
I love her. I fucking love her, bro. God damn.
What's
your question?
Who do you think you get? Obviously, you got Sasha, but how do you think the match is going to end?
This
stuff's always awesome.
Yeah, they got great chemistry together. I think Bayley cost Sasha the match. Honestly, she's going to interfere somehow, but I think it's going to be a fucking banger.
I'll type something to you. You got to take a look at, because she used to wrestle down the street from here. So their Chaotic Wrestling is a really good place. If anybody who's watching, check it out. They have Kofi matches on their site. They have Sasha matches before they ended up getting WWE. I mean, that stuff, there's an I Quit match with Sasha using a electric cord wrapping around her opponent. And there's little kids in it. So, I mean, it's interesting to see. But now we're going to skip Raw anyways. So, you wanted this, DK. You could talk all you want about Taylor Swift, you little bundle of joy there down in the corner. I'm sorry, Jeff and Joel.
Oh, no. I did a film shoot with Taylor Swift. Go ahead.
Wait. Let's
kind of
story.
Oh, no.
Burying the lead over here.
I'm holding off till he finishes his story, and then I'll tell you all about Taylor Swift.
Austin, I was not a fan of Taylor because I didn't listen to country music. So we could take it back to 2015. I was driving to work. I was working at the Cheesecake Factory, and I'm driving to work, and Style comes on. And I'm like, who is this? Like, she's got a beautiful voice. I'm like, not thinking this is Taylor Swift. And I couldn't find my phone as I was driving. And I looked, and it was off the '89 album, which is her favorite album of mine. So I learned the song probably about a month later. I'm at work. We're getting our ass whooped. Food is coming in, coming out. Manager's like, you got to get the food out. Servers are going crazy. All the cooks, I'm looking at the cooks, they're all going nuts. So I'm like, I need to break the ice. So I just break out singing, you got that James Dean daydream look in your eye. And I look at my buddy, and he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm singing Taylor Swift. And he sings the next verse. So we're just on the line going crazy. And that's when I knew I loved that girl.
Tremendous.
And Joel's sitting there in the corner being like, God save me.
Dude, I've played in cover bands, wedding bands, traveling bands, and there's always a Taylor Swift song that everyone wants to hear.
I should
so
be.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not all bad. It's fun.
Shake It Off.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Every single time.
There's Shake It Off. There's a couple others that people ask. Whatever. You go and you learn it, and it's fun. So that's really all. I don't hate her music at all. I quite enjoy it, but I don't typically go far out of my way to listen to her. That's all.
What do you think? Obviously, Mr. I met Taylor Swift down in there, Jeff Hawkins.
I'll tell you. Sony was going to come out with this iPad competitor during the time where she was doing all the filming for We're Never Ever Getting Back Together type of thing. So a bunch of us were hired to play as if we had been shooting the music video. So I was a squirrel because Taylor Swift really likes squirrels. If you didn't know,
you and just want your nut,
like her, like her pajamas all had squirrels on them. She's at the time it was like watching a fully fledged adult be treated like a 12-year-old, which was kind of weird. But I'm not going to trash her too much because it's the best catering I ever had on a shoot. You had like you had like salad, chicken, steak, and lobster tail, and you could pick two. I'm like, I'm taking steak and lobster tail, please, right over here. The most interesting thing to me about was like, I don't know if you've seen the video. I'm sure some of you have, but like there's like that house that she's in, and there's like a record player with a record, and that record was a mock Body is a Wonderland, John Mayer thing with all these songs about the guy on the cover being a bad person, and we all just kind of looked at that and went, "Yeah, she has some issues."
She did a song called "Dear John," which is a John Mayer diss track.
Yeah, no, but they were all, but it was a John Mayer album with all like diss tracks, made up diss tracks about John Mayer. It was phenomenal.
The greatest diss artist of all time.
Well, I mean, last night you did have Sean dressed up as Taylor Swift.
That was a tremendous outfit, by the way.
Yeah,
I give him credit for that.
I kind of looked at a picture up it last night, and I was just like, "Wait a minute, this doesn't look like Taylor Swift. It looks like Kid Rock." So, like, I started thinking about lyrics on that.
Comments. Well, that's the picture. If you can see over my shoulder here, that's the picture I have hanging above from the 22 video. Not a lot going on at the moment. It's all of us in 2020.
Yeah, well, 2020 sucks.
Yeah.
So, but what is you guys? Obviously, Joel's a huge rock star, all in his own. Give you credit. You've been in bands. I can't even play an instrument. Luckily, I can do a kind of a decent hosting job at this point. But yeah, I'm cutting myself short. But what is your favorite, live show of all time? Like, if you had to pick, and yes, this is why I brought both of you on, because I know Taylor Swift's going to be part of it. But if you had to make your own like festival, who would be the headliner and the undercard?
My favorite live show of all time was probably the 1989 show. I saw Red 1989 and Reputation, and 1989 was my favorite album, probably before Folklore. I really love Folklore. So that headliner, I don't know, Taylor Swift and a agoraphobic Nosebleed, because like I just want to go. Let's go just completely different spectrums. All right, that's what we're going with. You go completely thrash and then Taylor Swift.
So something like Pantera and then Taylor Swift.
It's like harder than Pantera. They're called agoraphobic Nosebleed. Like, you can't compare them to Pantera.
I was saying that spectrum, or like Static X when Wayne Static was on there. By the way, I actually met the dude. That hair is exactly that tall. But what about you, Jeff?
I have to pick one act. Is that what you're saying?
You have to pick one act as the headliner, and you have to have at least one or two as the under.
Oh God!
I know this is not what you walked into thinking it's all going to be wrestling. This is not what it usually is.
They have to be living, or does it matter?
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Because there are three shows that really stood out to me that I've seen. The Black Crowes, when they came back and reunited, tore the roof off the dump. The best show I think I've ever seen was Living Color headlining with Fishbone opening.
Oh, damn.
And that in just this small club called the Boathouse in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And it was just fantastic. And I think, if I recall correctly, they all came out on stage to do Cult of Personality together, which was just awesome.
Nice.
I've seen Rush a lot, and they put on a hell of a show every time. I'd probably make them my headliners. Even though
what about you, Joel?
Even though they're not my favorite group, but they're one of my favorite groups to see live and playing.
This is tough. I hate doing this show.
And by the way, I used to do internet radio, so this to me is right up my alley. So I mean, you being a musician, this is probably should be easier than you think.
Well, while Joel's thinking, let me ask something. What's the group or act you've seen most?
You want to know the truth about this? I used to work at an arena, in Lowell, which is now it's called the Songus Center, but it used to be called the Songus Arena. So I actually have a picture of Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I put it on Twitter, getting a street named after him in Lowell. And it's there, it's up there. But being in an arena, you get to working there during the concessions, you're always at the show. Mm-hmm. The best show I've ever seen was one I attended, and that was 311 with Alien Ant Farm. And that was post Smooth Criminal. Like, they literally went off the handle and stuff like that. But 311 is just simply amazing all their own.
I've seen Motorhead a shit ton of times. I was lucky to see them a whole bunch. And I love Motorhead and Anthrax. saw Megadeth. I think I saw Megadeth 6 times, and the 6th time I was like, I'm done. I can't watch them anymore. Mainly because I saw Dave Mustaine's voice deteriorating, and they wouldn't change the key of the songs to go lower so that he could actually sing them. So it got to the point where I was like, I can't watch them until they do it. And then they did it, and I started watching live videos of them performing them, and I was like, nope, I still don't like this. So,
I've actually seen Stained 7 times. And one of them was at the height. And this is when Mud Shovel was out. This is when Home was out. There's just their first 2 major singles out. They played with Kid Rock, and this is when Josie was still alive. The headliner was Limp Bizkit. The whole place at that arena, literally, it felt like an earthquake. And that thing was just built that year, and literally just the whole thing bouncing up and down the concrete flux. And I was just like, yeah, but I got to see them 7 times, 6 or 7 times, and which was really nice. Seeing Aaron Lewis play Zoe acoustically, no music, just him playing, is just amazing to do. So what's yours? Oh,
it was free.
Dude, Avril Lavigne rules though. So
this was like as she was on her ascent. So things were actually like really, really huge, and it was a free concert, but like it was sold out before it was even announced. So it was interesting.
Joel, you're the man, but you also have a country that gives us Nickelback.
Hey man, Nickelback comes in and takes all your money. They are the highest grossing act on any Live Nation ticket year after year. It's nuts. And they don't need to keep coming back. They just do it. So I respect them. And they're actually really nice guys, minus Chad. He's a dick. But the other brothers are actually really nice.
Wow.
This is from experience. This is firsthand. Chad's whatever. Chad knows who he is. Chad knows what he brings to the table.
He's a big star.
Guys, yeah, exactly. He's a big rock star and whatever the other lyrics, I can't remember.
What about you, DK, by the way? Because you've been quiet.
I've been listening. I've been waiting my turn. But
Get it?
I've only been to 2 concerts my whole life, and it was 98 Degrees. Nice. And the other concert was NSYNC, the No Strings Attached tour.
Nice.
Yes.
That was huge.
Wow.
That was, NSYNC was the biggest boy band ever over Backstreet Boys, and I'm a Backstreet Boys fan.
Man, I'm old.
If I could pick my own like headliner, it would be the Hot Boys, which was Lil Wayne, Turk, BG, Juvenile.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite rappers growing up. So if they did like a nice reunion tour, just them 4, be perfect for me.
I mean, for me, obviously working in arena, I got to see so many. I got to see Creed live. I saw 311. Hell, if you've ever come to Boston, any of you guys, St. Patrick's Day is the day to go. Dropkick Murphys, that place, that whenever they play, the whole place is just mesmerized. It's just amazing show. I saw that. But if I had to go with all the people that I've wanted to see, dead or alive, I'm sorry. I'm an 80s kid, and you would think I'd think 80s metal. I want Nirvana. I mean, just to see Kurt and that Unplug, especially the anniversary album, the Blackout anniversary album they released with, You're Right, is just insane top to bottom. Best probably Nirvana album of all time, obviously. But I would just like to see Dave Grohl on the drums with, them back together at least one last time. I mean, that would be great. I mean, the best band I've ever seen live is Korn. Like, non-stop, hard. As soon as that first beat starts from Fieldy's bass all the way to the last, it's just non-stop, go, 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 go. And that's a great show because you never feel like you have to, go somewhere to do something. You're just on your feet the entire time.
Okay, except for comedians. Have you ever been to a concert where the opening act had no business opening for the group that they were touring with?
Yes.
So many times.
Okay, so have you ever heard of a tour called Project Revolution?
No.
No.
It was Linkin Park. It's their own. They used to have their own, concert tour called Project Revolution. It had an undercard, somebody from local in and stuff like that. They had Cypress Hill on the card with them. Yeah. I got a buddy of mine a security job there, and he got to smoke with Be Real, and he's all ecstatic about it. Me. I was happy just to get an autographed CD, which is in my basement. It's probably worth a crap load of money now that Chester's gone, sadly. But those are two different spectrums. I mean, Insane in the Membrane going, and then all of a sudden you hear in the end, at the end of the concert, it's like, it doesn't make any sense.
I've got 2 bands on my need to see that are still alive list. And one is Foo Fighters, because every time they come around, it's always been like stadium shows, mainly because the sound is god awful. And then in 2020, they were supposed to do the van tour where they were going to show up in small towns, including Hamilton, which is about 45 minutes from Toronto, where I am. And then that got canceled. And then it got rescheduled. And then that got canceled. So that's out. And then the other guy that I would kill to see is Billy Joel, because I've had one opportunity.
Just go see an Elias concert.
You son of a bitch. I hate you. Very different. I've watched so much of Billy's stuff live, and I've always wanted to see him. I'd love to see him in Madison Square Garden, but you will never be able to find a ticket. I think I was in New York for my dad's, I think it was his 70th birthday, and Billy was doing a show that night, and I was trying so hard to get tickets for me and my family to go, because we're all music fans, and we couldn't get it. It's impossible.
You gotta compete with the boomers for tickets on that one.
Yeah, boomers with New York money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that wasn't gonna happen. Tim Trevor saying he's a huge Saliva fan, by the way. I am also a fan of Saliva for the first 4
The one band that he did say is that I actually wanted to see Dave Matthews at one point. I mean, and that's when Mr. Deeds was out, because that song got stuck in my head. But alive, what I would probably want to see, it has to be, something having to do with that.
Dave Matthews Band first concert was my first year at UVA. At my grading, they were the local $5 a week band at tracks where I was, that the fraternities would hire and stuff like that. And I played my first couple years at Virginia. I played jazz with a few of them. So it's one of those things where I was like, "Hey, you gotta go out and see Dave Matthews?" No, fuck no. I'm not paying $150 to go watch Dave Matthews play now.
You can catch a nice contact tie at a Dave Matthews concert, though.
You can go.
As a comic,
the only 2 guys with rhythm were the 2.
As a comic fan, considering we have a pop-in right now, I wanted to see Spider-Man on Broadway. Considering
what's all this hate about lead singer of Nickelback? He gave us Hero from the first Spider-Man movie.
Okay, bye, Spider-Man.
Man, Memphis got
all
old.
that bit for that.
Just jump in.
Jesus.
I grew up going to Jewish overnight summer camp, and so all the kids were huge DMB fans. They were all into Dave Matthews, and they're all into Guster and all those bands. And I was not. I was Metallica and Pantera and Anthrax, Municipal Waste. I was into those, thrash metal bands. And so I just, to this day, could not deal with Dave Matthews Band. And I can't deal with, what's his name? The fiddler from Dave Matthews Band.
Boyd Tinsley?
Boyd Tinsley, because he definitely did some shit to friends. Actually, my friend was the drummer of that band. So that's, that was a thing. Yeah. Look up Boyd Tinsley, and you'll read the note.
Or don't.
I don't know if I want to.
He not great.
All right, so we're burying Chad Kroeger and Boyd Tinsley on this show. Anybody else we need to bury in the music industry?
Elias.
I don't know. I mean, we do have the Black Panther too.
Oh, Christ.
Maybe we ought to ban you, Jeremy, for your hatred of Chad Kroeger.
That was not me. This is Joel.
Joel.
Yeah. This is accusation.
You know what? What?
Oh, I'm sorry. This has gone out of nowhere. Bye.
Wakanda forever?
Something forever.
Oh, anything.
How many costumes does that guy have? I want him to keep coming back.
It's like Shotgun NXT.
How far can we take this bit before it's not only it dies, but it resurrects itself to be funny again? That's what I want.
Kind of like the ninth Star Wars movie.
Let me click on and see what he's got next. Okay. Yeah, anything can happen.
I've got a million masks, Jeff Hawkins. I've got a million of them.
Are any of them good?
You do the voice.
That's like that's like a 6-year-old's Halloween costume where you have the pinhole for air in it, and the Technicolor hefty bag you'd wear going out trick or treating that was flammable if you got around somebody who's smoking a cigarette.
The mask person has Elias's mask somewhere. I mean, that would be interesting.
I do have a Sean Ross Sapp mask.
Please don't wear that.
Okay, bye, mask man. Have a good night.
Man, Tempest is taking gigs wherever he can get them.
Anything could happen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we could reveal who it really is. There he is.
Never would have guessed.
It's still question mark. I don't know.
All right.
I just want to say real quick, I am proud of the fact, Jeremy, that you said 1989 was your favorite album of Taylor Swift before Folklore, because I agree. Reputation is not a great album, although I do owe Denise a re-listen of it, because I told her I would. So maybe when I re-listen to it, I'll change my mind.
All the albums are fantastic. So,
well, let's just put it this way. When I listened to Reputation, none of them were...
Open your ears. Open your ears. That's your problem. You're trying to listen to it with closed ears, probably. You got to open them up.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'll do that when you unban NXT.
NXT is slowly getting unbanned. We got the GOAT Pat McAfee on the show. So we're getting there. Tell it to be a better show and not a Triple H vanity project, and then we'll start to unban it a little bit more.
You're the one with contacts in WWE, not
I have
me.
no contacts in WWE. Let's not put that out there.
That's not true. You told me you
think I have the bad takes.
I have zero. I got contacted by WWE
before he starts going like that.
I can tell this story.
Anakin, man, thank you for stopping by. Yeah.
I can tell this story. I got contacted by WWE. It was Garrett Kidney's fault, actually. I'll bury Garrett Kidney right here.
What?
Yeah, so this is the story. Do you remember when I was after the parking lot stuff happened in NXT? It was like the first couple of weeks of Retribution and all the parking lot stuff happened. And Garrett Kidney tweeted at the Full Sail account, like Garrett Kidney tweets and goes, it says like, yeah, there's issues with like your security at Full Sail. And like the Full
I remember that.
Replies and is like, oh, if you see anything to report, please let us know. And I wrote the article, the joking article of like, oh yeah, Full Sail comments on security issues at the college, and it's clearly sarcastic and stuff. And WWE calls me and is just like, you got to pull that article. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, our relationship with Full Sail is very important. We don't want people Googling and seeing that we have like security breaches at Full Sail and stuff. Yeah. So you got to pull that. And I was like, I talked to Sean. He's like, we'll do it. And I was like, all right, that is the only time I've ever talked to WWE. When I saw that Stanford number come up on my phone, though, I thought they were calling me for the head booking position. I was like, I'm going to the big league. See you guys later. Get out of here. But no, it was just telling me to pull that article. So it's Garrett Kidney's fault that happened. Well,
I mean, everything happens for a reason in life, right? I mean, WWE, next thing you know, he sees everything that you and Joe do and be like, yeah, you can do better storylines.
Conversation series on the WWE network with myself and Joseph Holbert. We're going to do a new conversation series.
So just take Lillian Garcia's show.
You're not a fan of this Lillian Garcia show.
I have a huge problem with Lillian Garcia's show. It's exploitative. She is not a registered therapist.
So we have the Barry White
for clicks.
So I gotta say this: we have the Barry White here, but now we need the Don Corleone of Fightful here. It is Rob. Okay.
Hey everybody,
oh, baby.
I got pants on, so.
I know.
Thank God.
I'm gonna say it makes
this ain't your only fans, bro.
Yeah, well, that's why I got confused. So that's why I usually take the pants off during the show. So they'll stay on this time.
Oh,
Big,
okay.
big fan of
Thank you.
Jeremy, are you? Okay.
Oh yeah, he's my highest bidder usually.
Well, speaking of OnlyFans, that since Rob kind of mentioned it, what do you guys think about the whole Twitch thing where Paige is not going to take it down and Zelina is just having OnlyFans and it's only her cosplay stuff? What do you guys think of that?
I hope
she posted on Instagram. Put it on her OnlyFans.
I'm not paying $30 for no nudity.
I mean, that doesn't bug me. Whatever you want to post, that's fine. But just don't give me recycled stuff that's going to be, that's already been seen on a free app.
Paige is a unique situation for me because she can't work anymore, or at least WWE has told her, we're not going to ever use you as a wrestler again. Her only means of other income, since they have her under contract in the wrestling industry, is based on her fame with WWE. So I don't have a problem with that. I think anybody who can get any incremental leverage on WWE is fine. If it takes Zelina doing an OnlyFans to do that, great. Everybody else can somehow sneak in a way to get their Twitch streams back and things like that. I mean, I understand why WWE did it as well. They're micromanaging. That's what they do. That's what they've always done with people, and if you've read talent contracts, outside projects get counted against your downside. It's ridiculous.
Well, do you think the whole Twitch thing also affected their, the Q3 aspect of it during where they were doing through the conference? I mean, these talent making their own money on the side, WWE is like, oh, well, this should be ours. They could be greedy about it.
Yeah, I think they want a taste. I think it's pure mob mentality. Hey, where's our taste?
So the guy that they brought on, their new president, Nick Khan, is a former talent executive. He's from CAA. And so for him to want to bring everything in-house makes perfect sense. So at the end of the day, Khan bringing all of this talent, trying to bring it all in-house, trying to get third-party apps to partner with WWE as an in-house talent agency instead of independently contracted individuals, wrestlers. That's what it all comes down to. So now the big question is going to be, how will things change? Given what I just said is completely,
if they get a contract with a third party provider, they will require their talent to do them, and they will give them as much as they think they're worth on it. That's the issue.
Well, isn't it the issue that up, down, down is Xavier does it on Twitch on his own merit, or is that a separate branch?
Yeah,
it's co-opted by WWE.
Xavier does his own streams that people never see on up, down, down, but then he just has his up, down, down stream. But like Joel said, like that's part of WWE. I don't know what the difference is on the cut, how much WWE is making off of that and everything, but I'm sure they're making something. Although Xavier says that on the shop thing, it's all them. So they see something in it. Like everyone has said, they see an opportunity to make more money. So they're going to partner with Twitch. They have a Twitch channel, by the way. There is a WWE Twitch channel. All it shows is the kickoff shows and the bump. That's legitimately all that's on their Twitch channel. But they'll do a partnership, and then people will be required to do it. They'll just play games, and they'll get whatever cut they get out of it. And a lot of the fun will kind of be gone from those streams.
I guarantee you in the next, I'll say conservatively 10 years, Raw or SmackDown will be broadcast live on Twitch in some form.
You got you and Mr. Don Clinione and Barry White over there think about all this.
I think it's pretty much everybody hit it right on the head.
And by the way, Rob, thank you for keeping your pants on.
No problem. You just sent me Venmo, so that's why. But anyways, everybody's right for the most part. I like what Jeff said. It makes sense. Like with Paige, that's her only extra income now, outside of the contract that she has with WWE. I don't really understand them being so hardcore about it, because I think WWE always has a tendency to this might shock everybody, but they have a tendency to not do the right things to their talent. And I think all this could have been avoided if they would have made it like clear what they were trying to do. Like instead of just doing something and then just throwing it out there, pissing off all their talent, just have a plan. At least tell them what you're wanting to do. WWE has a tendency to just drop the ball with giving announcements to their talent.
He ended up going to the bathroom, and I just didn't want him on, for his camera. Yeah,
but I think that's it. I think that's the biggest thing. I think this could have been avoided. Like the negative aspect. WWE will take the negativity all the time, but they always overcome it, for the most part. So it doesn't really matter.
Their bottom line ain't being affected.
Yeah.
They're making money hand over fist.
Yep.
Well, I mean, especially for me, I took marketing in high school. The Q3 was actually very telling to me. For most part, I think the oversaturation of the pay-per-views and the Thunderdome and stuff like that is going to affect the Q4. They are going to be down significantly financially on production values going into the Q4. But accounting for all the furloughs and stuff like that, that's pretty much where they are now. I'm just hoping they bounce back because, people are now getting away from the product. And the one thing that I was telling is that they're looking at the ratings as a second hand, and the product itself, the content that they're putting out there is more value than what the numbers of people watching are telling. When all this stuff was not like that, the numbers and the ratings during the Attitude Era were more important than the content they were putting out. So for me, as looking at both sides of as a fan and as somebody who has seen business stuff on this, it's got to improve on both ends. If the ratings improve, the content is going to get more. They did hit a lot of people up on YouTube for once, so hopefully they financially on the next Q4 it looks a lot better than it did, because to me it looked like it was just crap.
I mean, look, if making $200 million is crap, then sign me up for it.
Yeah, they're not going to change it all. They got their Coca-Cola. They have market share.
Yeah.
I mean, there was that talk when they signed that contract with Fox that Fox wants a more sports-based presentation, and with Brock Lesnar and Ronda Rousey, they'll be getting the blah 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 blah. They gave them the same crappy WWE presentation.
They had dog food. They were dumping dog food on Roman Reigns like 2 months into that.
Yeah,
show.
they're Golden Corral. You get a lot of it, and it's of mediocre quality, but
But you get a lot of it because it's content, and that's what it is. TV is dead. I said it on my show this last week. TV is dead, and all they want to do is pay as much as they can to get as much content as they can. And the people who are creating the most content right now include WWE. Going back to the Q3 stuff for a sec, financially speaking, the reason why they made more money was actually shockingly that they didn't overspend on Thunderdome. Whatever it was, whatever deal they made with Famous Group actually helped their bottom line. So in other words, they're either owing a lot of money later to Famous Group, or Famous Group gave them one hell of a deal, because everyone expected that the money they spent, the money they saved on running out of Performance Center was going to be offset by the cost of running the Thunderdome. But it turns out it's not. Thunderdome costs almost the same as running Performance Center. So there's a weird number variation there. And on top of that, Q4 is going to be strange. It's going to be lower. They've already said it's going to be lower. Furloughs are going to be back by the end of the year. So it's 25% of their workforce is supposedly coming back. And on top of that, they're not running a Saudi show. Therefore, they're not going to see an extra $50 million in their pockets by end of year. So expect a lower Q4. The only way it's going to be up is if they make a Twitch deal real quick, or a third-party deal really quick, or if they, what was the other one? Make a third-party deal real quick, or they have a massive Christmas sale season on Shop. Those are part of the only big game changers for their next quarter.
Well, they just did a huge thing because my sister was watching it on Monday. They did like a huge T-shirt sale, like unbelievable, like $15. That shirts that usually go about $30. Like the new Roman Reigns one that he wore when he got back is like $10. So it's ridiculous now that they can actually try to put all this content. Now, For me, I think 7 pay-per-views. If you add a Halloween Havoc, maybe if I'm off on the number, in 2 months is a little much. But do you think that also puts strain on the talent? Constantly building up the story, then dropping down, building up. It's like an up down scenario.
I don't think it hurts the talent at all. I had a friend tell me that he thinks that talent. He doesn't watch as much as we do by any means, but he was telling me that from what he sees, and this is just his words, but he goes, I think the wrestlers should stop worrying about modeling and pay attention to more what they're doing in the ring. I go, they have more time off now than ever. Like ever. They go in usually 1 day a week and sometimes twice if they are working SmackDown or if they have a pay-per-view. They're working less than ever. It's already been proven by the stories that it doesn't really matter. Like you could show up an hour or two before the show and you'll know what you're doing. I don't think that has anything to do with it. And like I said, they're working less than ever. If anything, that the financial part, like from the fans, that might hurt them, but majority of the fans, from what we already know, is they have WWE Network for the pay-per-view where they're making the revenue. So I don't see that being a big deal for the talent at all.
Well, like I said, I've always could be wrong. What do you think, DK? Is Mike?
DK's just a pretty face right now. His mic's gone.
Yeah, your mic's not working. We can see you.
Turn it off again.
Yeah. Sorry, technical difficulties. That always happens. Hey, I'll let you bounce so you can try to fix it, okay? Just nod. Okay.
That makes 2, by the way.
Yeah, I know. He's still sitting in there right now. Come on, you gotta fix your mic.
So my general feeling is if you're gonna get talent more money in any extra way, buy their merch, because that's the way it is right now. They're not getting it from
WWE though.
Pardon?
A good cut of that's still going to WWE though.
Oh, 100%. But the only other big means they have to make money in WWE is merch, because it's not network subs. They're not making money based on pay-per-view buys, and there's certainly no gate. So
and
you have to
video
buy their
game
merch.
didn't knock anybody over either in sales. So
Yeah.
And they weren't getting much cut out of video game anyway. I can't imagine.
You think that'll change next year? Like with what happened with 2K and in WWE? Like, I mean, the game was so bad that they didn't do, or from what I've gathered, is 2K was doing such a bad job that they just didn't do one for this year, and then they want to just do another one next year. Am I wrong, or is that what pretty much happened?
I would have
so bad they released Battlegrounds.
Yeah, they released Battlegrounds as like just a holdover until next year. I assume they're going to come out with a game next year. How good it's going to be is anybody's guess.
Yeah. Well, do you think, like, the financial part, they'll get more money now? Because I assume they had a contract to do, like, I assume they had an agreement or a contract to do games every year.
They'll get whatever their contract says they'll get.
Yeah.
They won't get a penny. I mean, otherwise.
Okay. Well, that makes sense then.
Do you think Vince is going to be, I'm going to be generous to everybody?
No. I don't mean it by that way. I just meant was like as a, not really a compromise. I was looking at the 2K aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would 2K say, we're not making a game this year. We know we owe you whatever amount they pay to have the rights to make a video game. Do they basically add on to that, or do they make it more of a financial, like a better thing for WWE in the long run? Because I assume that's basically what my question was.
But didn't Battleground just cover after that? Isn't that a 2K game?
It is, but I know
nobody bought that shit.
Okay.
Did y'all hear that?
His mic works.
Yeah.
Nobody bought fucking Battlegrounds, bro. We wanted 2K, so yeah, Battlegrounds was trash.
I think it just depends if any of these games are profitable against the margin, and then if it's not, if the license isn't profitable, they'll say we're not gonna waste all these man hours testing bugs, which
Yeah.
it looks like they didn't do a lot
Yeah.
of bug testing on any of these games.
All they need to do is
bugs.
well, yeah, and you just move those guys over. Like if you say hell with it, we're not making a WWE game. You guys go. We'll move this team over to go make the next Grand Theft Auto, and they'll make their money off that. So, but what Jeff says, it doesn't.
But for me, it's like, okay, I like what you and Joel do for like the old school wrestling games, like Sean did. I like those a lot better. I kind of wish they brought that style back a little bit, but that's me being, a guy who played the GameCube, the old Nintendo and stuff like that with all these new consoles. I still love it, but I wouldn't mind seeing them going backwards and just doing like what Nintendo does with the whole thing where they're bringing back 3 games and they give you the option to update it a little bit. That would actually be an interesting thing for 2K to do. Just bring back some of the best old school games that they had for WWE, and that would probably help out finishing their contract, their obligations, right?
There's room for it, but the problem is they don't own any of those games. It's all THQ. So they would have to strike a deal with THQ or whoever to get something like that.
Didn't
just make a better video game like that. Like the 2K games, they're trying to be way too simulation. Like I'm not trying to do test of strengths and chain wrestling and lockups and all this stuff in my wrestling game. Like I'm trying to go out there and jump off of shit. Like that's all I want to do.
It's true.
That's why the Smackdown games are so good. You can fight around Times Square and like jump into a helicopter and stuff. Like that's awesome.
Off the Smackdown fist.
Yeah, like who wants to play a wrestling game where it's like, all right, roll out of the ring and now you're injured for 30 seconds before you can roll back in and stuff. Like it's dumb.
And that's kind of what Battlegrounds is too, because it's stupid, silly shit too, and it's fun. And I don't think it's
way
a bad
too
game
arcadey for me, but like it's way I enjoy Battlegrounds way more than I enjoyed the recent 2K games because it's just stupid arcade fun. The 2K games are trying to be just like way too realistic,
story based crap. Nobody wants to go through developmental.
Right?
As far as like the THQ thing, it looks like 2K completely bought the whole series rights and everything from THQ as well. So that's just based what I've just read.
I would love
engine and just make a better game.
I would love in one of the games to be like, you went through all of developmental. Do you want to move up to the main roster? And you're given the option, yes or no. You could be like,
that would be awesome.
No.
That's how it is. That's how it is with like the NHL games and stuff. When you do like be a pro or whatever, it's like, all right, you can play a season in the minors and you just go straight to the NHL. Like, all right, yeah, just let me get drafted. Let's just do that. I'm trying to spend my time playing minor league hockey.
That's kind of like the show. You get drafted every damn time I play the game. I get drafted by the Marlins, and I have to basically play for a couple of years and demand a trade, and then I get traded to Baltimore, and then I just quit. So,
well, that's what's happening with my Patriots right now. They're just not as great as they're supposed to be, but in video games, it would be great to see them do something like incorporate some of the old titles and redo it, considering they're doing the Halloween Havoc, the Great American Bash, stuff like that. Where do you see WWE as the cornerstones of Fightful gaming right now? Where do you think the WWE gaming series is going to end up? Like, there's some people think that they should go to EA and have them take a shot at it.
I mean, I don't know what their contract is with 2K. Like, it could be a 3-year, 4 or 5 year. Like, who really knows? Whenever that's up and stuff, sure, if they can create any type of bidding war, then great. I'm interested in what AEW is about to do, honestly, because they launched AEW games yesterday. They got a big announcement next Tuesday. They've been very quiet on the video game front. All we know is like in production, but we don't know anything else about it. There's no developer that's been named or anything like that. I guess they're going to reveal something next Tuesday. I'm interested in what that's going to be because Kenny Omega that's the other thing is like Kenny Omega seems to actually be like really hands-on with that kind of thing. I don't know how much input like somebody like Xavier has on the WWE games side of things. Like if I'm WWE,
Zero.
I'm going to probably. Like I'm going in all day and just being like, what can we do to make this game better? And then that's it. But
I think it's been,
they care about the quality of the game. They
No,
just
they
want
don't.
the
That's
product
the
out
thing.
there.
yeah,
Exactly.
they don't. But if they
Suckers buy it because it has WWE on it. Here, take that shitty game that we've been putting out the same way for the past 5 years. Except
Well,
we just
I
make the rosters and take out cool shit every year.
exactly, and that's why they put like you just noticed like a month ago or 2 months ago when Tessa Blanchard was in the game. No, they're not paying attention at 2K. Nobody knows what the hell's going on.
Oh, that's the issue. That's why nobody's buying it. Like, give it to a wrestler who knows what a good wrestling game is and who grew up playing the wrestling games. Like, it doesn't seem that difficult. But this is their process through like everything, not just video games.
AEW should have rewards if you hit your time cues. That'd be awesome.
So DK, what's your favorite WWE wrestling game? Because you've been a little quiet.
Here Comes the Pain, Shut Your Mouth, the original Smackdown, Know Your Role, all the original THQ games before 2K took over.
Okay, then I'm old school. I like No Mercy and WrestleMania 2000, even though I get a little help from that. I also remember the WCW Super Nintendo version of their games, like literally just
Galoob.
Just the interesting how like you had to figure a way to get all these guys to do stuff.
You guys are lucky. You kids did not have to live through the Nintendo, the original NES.
Okay. Oh, before you go, right, Jeff? Because I'm gonna be 40 next year. I remember when the Nintendo came out. I also remember what it is originally called in Japan, the Famicom. So I mean,
the WrestleMania game, that first one that came out. Okay, finally, I'm getting a WWE game, or I'm getting some sort of name brand versus pro wrestling and versus techno wrestling. That game was the shittiest game on planet Earth. The one with like the 3-sided ring where like a guitar would bounce across if you're playing as Honky Tonk Man or something. And all you can do was kick and punch. All you can do is kick and punch in that fucking thing.
Okay. The worst game of all time, and it's been documented, is ET. Let's get that straight.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Second off, the worst original Nintendo game was literally Excite Bike, because at times the game would freeze.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you can't go wrong. But yeah, that wrestling game sucked. But do you think it possibly down the road they could actually do something like with EA if their contract's up, considering they're not making any games right now?
Sure.
And how do you think it would look?
Use the Def Jam engine. That's all anybody's asking for. That thing was cool as fuck.
Yeah,
you know what would be really cool if they use the Unreal Engine, though. Just picture how realistic they could get close to that. And the Unreal Engine is great.
Don't make a realistic game. Jump off of high shit. That's all I care about.
Yeah, because if they did it realistically, we'd only get like Street Profits versus Andrade.
I want to put a guy on 3 tables and get on off of it and put him through it, and hopefully he actually stays down as opposed to pops back up. Like Here Comes the Pain. We're like,
no, let him pop back up.
Set up a ladder in the ring and a guy on a table on the outside. You jump through it and immediately they get back up. You're like, what the fuck is that?
No sell everything. It's fine. It's a video game.
Road Warriors, the video game.
That's the problem with the new game is like you get clotheslined and you got to roll outside the ring and take a break for 20 seconds.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna let Rob go. Thanks for popping in, Rob. I got one person popping in from a different country right now. So,
all right. See you, boys.
Rob, peace.
Bye, Don Clenion. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Taking my pants off now, but
wait, he had them on the whole time?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
If you believe him, he did.
I do not.
All right then.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, like how these all work in. And these roundtables always get better. I mean, the one with DK, Rob, and Hannah, we were literally on here for 2 hours, and Warren was going off 30 minutes about freaking Goldberg. So, Jeff, what do you think about Goldberg's contract having 2 matches a year?
I think he over-delivered, and now it's become the law of diminishing returns. I think that Fiend crap last year really just put the nail in it for me. I mean, that was
The
terrible.
greatest match of all time.
Fucking terrible.
I know
knew
you're
you were
behind me.
the
Ha, ha,
Fiend.
ha. Well, let's just fuck that guy too. You know, just no. I loved the Brock program, and I wish he had walked away after it. But you know, money talks.
Yeah, money talks, bullshit walks. But I mean, if they're gonna do something like this with Goldberg, what spots are you gonna put it? Like, are you gonna put him at Rumble facing? You know,
I can hide him in the Rumble because he doesn't have to do much there. That's fine. And then I put him in a match where he'll probably get killed, like Roman. I'd have Roman kill him.
yeah,
His
but if
first match back, have him and Matt Riddle. Have him beat the shit out of Matt Riddle.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's
You
it.
mean
That's
Riddle.
turn now. Everybody's like,
Riddle.
let's have Goldberg beat Riddle instead of Riddle beat Goldberg.
You want to get Goldberg over real quick? Put him in the ring with Riddle.
well, I mean, if the end game is gonna be literally you're gonna put The Rock in there against Roman, wouldn't you want The Rock winning? You know, the Rumble instead of having Goldberg there as a deficient, just having those two at the end, possibly.
I don't think the Rock's ever coming.
Yeah, Rock ain't doing Rumble. I don't think. First off,
Yeah, he don't need to win it either.
Yeah, he doesn't need to win a Rumble. He just comes in and be like,
Hey, here's the Rock.
yeah, right.
Who wants to see him? Everybody raises their hand and
You
they're
can
all,
actually tell a story.
yeah,
with
you
the
don't need to build him. Oh, scrappy
Right.
underdog, Dwayne Johnson coming back after being out of the Fed for a few years. No, you don't need to do that.
Right. So I don't know if The Rock's gonna do the Mania match. I don't think he is, but you don't need to win the Rumble for it. As for Goldberg, you can hide him in the Rumble, do a Mania match. I don't know who he beats. You gotta have him beat somebody, and then that way when
Elias. Have him
there you
beat
go.
Elias.
Sure, have him beat
How dare you? Wait, sorry, I hate Elias. Yes,
Get
yes.
your gimmick straight, Joel.
I flip flop now.
Why is
My
Caleb
thing.
in the chat burying me? Get
Why
out of
not?
I mean, for me, what I could see happening is that if they put Goldberg in a match where he could just come in, rip shit up, go around. If he ends up going with Roman, that's not going to be good. But put him something like give him Riddle. I mean, obviously people want that match because how both of them barked at each other. So it gives Riddle some credibility for him chomping at the bit saying he wants to retire Goldberg. Let him do it.
I mean, listen, end of the day, Goldberg's not doing anything until the offseason for his kids' football season because that's his new thing. He moved to Texas and his kid is in high school and now it's all about Texas football. So like he doesn't give a shit until football season's over. What are you saying?
Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose.
Yeah, no. No.
Tim said this. Yeah, no.
I don't want to see Samoa Joe succumb to injury that quickly.
And here comes
Joe back.
what's up, Ted?
Hey, what's up, Throwback? Hey, guys.
What up?
What's happening?
So we're talking about Goldberg right now. So where do you think if you had to slot him in to those two matches in the year?
I think obviously WrestleMania is probably the obvious choice. I know it's not something that many people are like. I think he's quite a controversial figure in terms of whether people want him plugged in. But WrestleMania is the place where you plug in the big names anyway. So I don't see him doing, it being too bad if he comes in at WrestleMania. You can throw him in, obviously, against the
2.5. Okay, we'll get 3. Wild Boy pops in and out sometimes, so we call him popcorn sometimes.
No worries. No worries. But yeah, I'll throw him in WrestleMania. I don't think he needs a title match. Hopefully they don't give him a title match. I think his name is big enough. And yeah, just give him anyone that needs a match, that needs to get crushed by someone, because I don't see him putting anyone over.
I mean, could it be a possibility, like I was saying before he came in, Riddle could be the opponent that he could give him, considering there is that little heat between them? I mean, obviously, Goldberg doesn't like him. So, I mean, why not just give him the opportunity to put Goldberg down?
I think if Riddle got him, I think Goldberg would probably go over. I think, Riddle losing his last name, unfortunately, his first name isn't a great sign for him, I don't think. And if they're gonna give Goldberg someone, and it's at WrestleMania. I think Goldberg is gonna go over unless it's Roman Reigns or someone that big.
They should have lost his last name. It'd just be Matt. Tough guy. Just Matt coming to the ring.
I can picture
With an
Vince.
at
I want
sign
that
for
guy
A.
that has the blunt in his mouth. Yeah, the guy who's always high.
Just call him Matt Dude Bro. Comes out. Just
Matt,
hey, man, let's party.
I remember when Bro was on the Indies and everyone was like, "Oh, when is WWE going to sign Matt Riddle?" And people were like, "They're never going to sign Matt Riddle because he has that hallucinogenic mushroom on his ribs." And like, they don't like that because they're a PG show. And then the other side was like, Vince has no fucking clue what that thing is.
some fan is going to get that as a tribute to Matt Riddle.
My fear
That's
was that
right.
Vince had seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and I think he's Spicoli.
I was just gonna say that. Or Matthew McConaughey. I can't remember the name.
Matt, we want you to play bongos.
No problem, bro.
Yeah,
It looked like it was going that way.
Just don't drug test me this week. All right, cool. Go on out there.
well, I mean, there's so many possibilities. I mean, how, and this is probably going to be the last question of the night for you guys. Where do you see the status of wrestling going from here? Like, how are we going to, as fans, how do you think it could be a lot better than it is right now?
Vince steps down. The end.
I'm going to be doing another hour, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, DK just said it. Vince steps down. I mean, yeah, sure. I think they should hire Alexis Rose to just write all their shows.
I mean, for me, more so is just, Vince obviously stepping down, but if you have to make Raw, as you say, to every time it's their flagship show, you have to improve Raw in order to get it back to where it was. Not the glory days, but just substantial to where everybody could say, okay, it should. They call NXT their developmental, but the NXT is the number one brand out of the three. Shouldn't you keep going and make Raw the number one brand, considering it's your flagship? Wouldn't that be the important thing to improve that?
They need a brand invigorator is what they need to make the brands better.
But would you develop new talent for that?
This is a very loaded question on what they can do. They can do a lot of things better. I don't think it's as simple as, better writing helps, better stories. Vince says it all the times on these calls. We need better writing. We need better stories. They don't do any of it. They need to cut Raw to 3 hours to 2 hours. God forbid. They don't need to cut it to 3. And they need to cut Raw to 2 hours. Like there's plenty of stuff that they can do, but none of it's going to happen anytime soon. And so I just sit back and I cackle at it all. That's the best way to enjoy the product right now. Just laugh at it.
So I wanted to say, and Tad, thank you for stopping by for the time you did. I know it's late where you are, so I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it's 2 a.m.
Yeah. So I'll go around and have you guys say everything. We'll start with the God of Point, the Point of God. Jeremy, tell them where you can find him.
Oh, you can go to Fightful.com, and then my name is somewhere on that website, and you can click it, and you can see all the stuff that I'm up to. The Distraction, 3 p.m. live Thursdays. Now the Distraction reviews, 2 p.m. live reviewing stuff. We reviewed John Cena's album today, and in Twitter at Jeremy Lambert 88. That's it. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, we got one more going for the audio side tomorrow. This is Jeremy week, by the way, so everybody's gonna sit back and feel the dose of terrible branding.
Terrible branding.
Well, to be honest, Rob was supposed to do the podcast last week, and he was sick, so that's why I got to record 2 tomorrow. So yours is going to be on the prime spot. His is going to be on Thursday. So
I'm a bigger star than Rob Wilkins, so that's how it's.
How did it be that he's supposedly your manager, and yet there is no evidence of a contract?
He just said he was my manager, and I was too lazy to be like, I don't know what you're talking about, and so I just allowed it.
the most pro wrestling thing ever.
Yeah, pretty much. Joel got on the game streams. He's just like, hey, can we do game streams? And I was like, yeah, you help me out with stuff. Then I'm just too lazy to kick him off. So now he just keeps doing them with me.
There's love. That's why.
That's why I'm here. I sneak my way in.
Speaking of Joel, tell him where you can find you.
You can also go to Fightful. No, I'm just kidding. Although my name shows up there.
Your name is there. If you search Joel Pearl, you got some
it does show up. You can find me at Joel Pearl on all social media. You can find me on YouTube, Tim and Joel Pod. So the weekly show that I do is called Tim and Joel Call It in the Ring, where myself and my co-host Tim, we talk about the week in wrestling, and Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, we're there. We talk about it. We do an hour. It's also on audio podcast everywhere. And other than that, that's where you find me, timandjoelpod.com.
Okay, Jeff, tell them where they can find you.
At CrapGame13 on Twitter. My podcast is called Shake Them Ropes over at Voices of Wrestling. My co-host Emeritus at Fightful, I think, is my official title now. I'll fill in whenever Denise or Jeremy don't feel like doing a show.
Wait, this is a thing? I didn't know this. You can.
I kind of had to give it up to take a new job because I couldn't guarantee watching Smackdown every week, and so now I just get put in the rotation if other people can't show up.
I'll drop out once a month, like call up Hawkins.
And the thing is that I've been vocally saying this. I'm just lucky to be on the bench and considered if they need me. You know, I'm just happy to, like the preview the show I did with Sean. I was at Crystal's house just sitting there. It was like, oh, okay, it was abrupt. So I was just like sitting there with my phone. It was just, you know, anytime anybody wants help, I'm always willing to help out. That's how we help each other. So I
don't mean to cut things off. I want to say something nice about Jeff Hawkins. Everyone listen to Shake Them Ropes. When I listened to podcasts more regularly before I had to transcribe a bunch of interviews, Shake Them Ropes was one of the few that I would just like always listen to. So I really appreciate all the content you have given me over the years, Jeff.
Oh, thank you. We're lighthearted fare. We don't get too wonky on the wrestling.
Yeah.
We're just trying to have a good time.
Exactly. Yeah. So I really appreciate all that.
All right, Tad, where they can find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Tad Predictable. Wrestling wise on Anfield Index, we do it's meant to be weekly wrestling podcast, but sometimes you don't quite feel as inspired.
I feel you.
Hear that?
So we got a fun one where we're gonna fantasy book all the NXT guys that have been called up and what should have happened to them opposed to what's happened with them. So check that out. And then if you do watch, I suppose it's soccer for you guys, but football for us, I've got you can check me on EPL Index. I've got a Tad Predictable show where I predict all the fixtures of the Premier League. That one is a weekly show. So check it out. Thanks for having me on, Throwback.
No problem. And of course, I get flack for giving him this nickname because I said Barry Manilow. But he is the Barry White of Fightful. It's boy.
It's a difference.
Yes, Wild Boy. Tell him where you can find him, my friend.
I don't have the credentials as these other gentlemen, so just follow me on Twitter at It's Wild Boy.
Do it. You won't regret it. You'll laugh your ass off. Wild Boy is my favorite male. Denise is my favorite female on Twitter, and favorite person overall. But Wild Boy is my favorite male to follow on Twitter.
Well, Wild Boy has like literally said it out and stated it that me and him are in a tag team. So I mean, if one of us can't do something, the other one will. So, but everything, follow these guys. They do a lot of stuff. The Distraction, Jeremy and Joe did John Cena today. I forgot to mention, I didn't have room in the super chat. I wanted to put this out there is that if you look at the comparison before I let all you guys go, Marky Mark was a rapper and an actor. Look at Cena. Take the wrestling out. Guess what he's doing?
Marky Mark's a better rapper than John Cena.
When's John Cena going to open a chain of burger restaurants?
That's his brother, though, right?
They're all the same.
It's Paul. Paul is the one that owns the whole thing. They just are contributors to it. They basically are backers on there. But if anything, you need to come up here and actually go to the original one. You don't want to go to the one over near where I work or near Fenway. The one in Hyannisport, not Hyannis, right in the harbor section right there, Hingham. It's great, and plus Almanova is right next door, and the food's amazing. You know, that's the one thing I'm happy about being around here. So, but go check these guys out. You know, the Distraction's always great. Jeremy does so much stuff, especially on Friday nights with Sean. You know, Joel's killing it like everything. Jeff's doing his thing and always having a fun time with all the podcasts and everything. Tad does great work, and my tag team partner always is going to be killing it every time he is there. The week of the 19th is going to be really difficult, and I'm going to be putting it out there. It's just that's going to be a tribute week. Everybody's more welcome to pop in. Everybody here. It's going to be a tribute to my mom. The show we're going to do is going to be with a small round table. It's going to have, if DK is okay to be a part of it, him, Rob, and Hannah. We're going to talk about Survivor Series, but also we're going to have people come in and talk about Thanksgiving memories, stuff like that. That's why I'm asking DK if he can handle that.
I'll be there, bro. It'll be tough, but I'll be there.
Oh, trust me, I get it. You know, and then Match Memories is going to be live, and you know, me and DK are probably going to lean on each other, but I'm going to need, you know, good people around. This month's going to be a really great month for this place. I'm very, very grateful for Jeremy, Joel, Jeff, Tad, and DK being here. I'm very grateful for Fightful. Like I said in the past, without Fightful, I'd probably still be in that room at my mom's house and not coming out. It's great to be a part of a community where everybody helps each other. And that's why I end the show the same way. Do a good deed, pay it forward. Check out all these guys' stuff. It's worth it. And at least there is something that happened positive tonight. DK got his wish and talked about Taylor Swift. Like I said, do a good deed, pay it forward. Check out everything these guys do. It's always amazing. Jeremy week keeps going. Even though it's bad branding, we're still going to do it tomorrow. Record that, and they'll be out on Saturday for you guys. So enjoy, okay? Have a good night.